Synchronicity is its parapsychological equivalent. Psychological life is an expression of nature. In this case, we have to suppose a knowledge prior to all consciousness. Synchronistic phenomena are thought to arise from activations of this level of reality.
It's 38 degrees outside right now, according to my phone weather
which
app.
at the time is unknowable. In therapy, seeing one person as
So once again, I gotta say, there's no bugs flying outside, and it ain't snowing, and it ain't raining.
That is transformative.
Of course, they ain't coming down anyway, they're going up.
That link both partners may usefully be described as emerging out of the psychoid realm because it transcends limited perceptions.
Some of the neighbor boys are still outside playing.
Possessing separate, encapsulated psyches. It is particularly in the heightened tension generated by such a field that synchronistic events tend to occur. The psychic life is fundamentally a shared unitary realm. The fullness of the self is the pleroma, the place where past, present, and future exist simultaneously. It is the idea that everything that will happen has already happened. That is the magic of synchronicity. Jung tells us a story about the 19th century French poet Émile Deschamps, who was given a piece of plum pudding by so-called Monsieur du Fougibu. 10 years later, he discovered another plum pudding in a Paris restaurant and asked if
Anybody out there watching my video here,
however, that the plum pudding was
turn you on to a little bit of good information. I'm watching a thing now about Carl Jung, and I've been watching a lot of his stuff lately, man. He was really somebody, man. I'm gonna tell you, you need to check him out. He was in touch. He was in tune, I tell you. And another guy that was really in tune back in, he died in 2015, 80s, 90s, 2000s. He was on top of his game, doing talks and everything. A dude named Wayne Dyer. That's Wayne Dyer, D-Y-E-R. Both of them guys, if you watch some of their stuff, man, they were in touch. Everything that I've come to believe and come on my own with all my research in the past couple years with the internet in my hand and my spiritual shit going on with me is completely in line 100% with both of them guys, the way they see things and the way they talk.
She had dreamed of a large fish the night before. A few months later, when I was using this series for larger work and had just finished writing it down, I walked over to a spot by the lake in front of the house, where I had already been.
Anybody out there that's wondering about what's going on in the world right now and thinking about Armageddon and all the stuff going on with the world war and the reset and all that, I found a few things today that was really interesting. Astronomy, they mapping the planets, and they was talking about how what is it, Uranus and Saturn, or Mercury and Uranus was one of them. I can't remember what the other planet was, but every time they've lined up over the past 3 times, America's been in war. They come to war once they line up, and they line up again in 2025. So it's looking like 2025 is when the United States is going to actually get into a war. It might be a civil war, it might be war with another country, but it's looking like we got until about 2025 before we really got to worry about war here, which of course you see all the sickness they're spreading and everything now. I've been watching a lot of stuff about the vaccines. There's been a lot of scientists come forward with the vaccine data and showing a lot of very interesting things, and they're calling it we got one in the back lit up. That was lit up way back there.
On one occasion,
I've seen 3 or 4 of them lit up like that today. They'd be way on back there, but they'd be lit up, so you could see them way back there, even where that white truck's way back in the back. But anyway, they're calling the vaccine, not the COVID, but the vaccine, our second 9/11. So anybody that's interested in shit like that, look that up, because that's very interesting. And everything I watch, if they don't have facts to back it up and hard data, and if they don't do a good job of finding the facts, and they're just going off of belief, I don't usually listen very much, because I want to know facts. And everybody has opinions. I don't need to hear your fucking opinion. I want to see the facts. I want to see what hard data you got to prove what you're saying. And when I find it, I let it sink in. And I've already done a lot of research about America and the shit they've done ever since the inception. I mean, they've done a lot of heinous shit. And they're calling this the second 9/11 with the vaccines. And I do find it funny that Biden, when they was doing all the mandates and trying to force everybody to take the vaccines, he signed some paper saying that him and his whole cabinet didn't have to take the vaccine. So they didn't have to take the vaccine. But yet they was pushing it for everybody to take the vaccine. So
and there, in one of the streets, he recognized the city of his dream. He found the square at the cathedral.
I heard another interesting fact today, and I'm extremely excited about this. I watch a couple different ladies that do psychic readings, and I don't say I dabble with it, but I do a lot of meditating, and I've connected, and I've gotten messages, and I've used spirit boards, and I've used not spirit boards, but the little pendulum with the yes and no answers. I've never had a spirit board work for me, but I use tarot cards, and my big thing is my runes. My runes, I believe, tell me the truth every day, and I do it twice a day, and I believe they tell me the truth every day. But the ladies that I watch, I believe 100% in both of them. They are for real. They're legitimate. They're in tune, man. They know what they're saying. And I heard one of them say today that all the babies that's been born within this past year, any baby that's 1 year old or born today, is a part of the new generation of they're not going to be coming into life like we are and we have, where we don't know shit. Everything we get is taught from teachers and parents and friends. All these babies that are out from the past year to now are the new. They are going to have total recall of all their past lives, of all the shit that they, the dimensions, or however you see after we leave this body. If it's the next dimension, that's the way some people look at it. I'm not exactly sure what to say. It's a different dimension, or we just go back to. I believe we got access to everything when we leave this body. I mean, we can go to any dimension, any universe, anywhere, and I believe we have full access to everything. But of course, when we're born into this life, we don't know shit. I mean, as much research as I've done and tried to pack my brain with good knowledge and shit. Look at that one. They're slow and easy. There's one flying by.
Certainly I heard
with everything that I've packed my brain with and tried my best to study and all the facts I follow, I still know that I'm a dumb motherfucker. I am the dumbest motherfucker. And
it was the nearest analogy to a golden scarab that one finds in our latitudes.
it's
A scarab bee beetle.
the babies that are being born right now is going to have full recall, man. I got an IQ of 131. I've been proud of that ever since I learned it back in, I was 20 years old, getting into that. I was locked up at the time. We had books, a couple different books on it. And I did IQ tests, and I come up with 131 for my IQ. And that ain't genius. Genius is 143 and above. And Einstein was 173. And the highest I've ever heard is a young girl about 8 or 9 years ago. She had an IQ of 226. That's the highest IQ I've heard. But these babies that's being born now, if they have total recall, their IQs are going to be over 1,000. Their IQs are going to be up there. I've heard it said one time. I don't know. I don't believe in Satan as a person. I mean, it's kind of like Jesus' conscience, and you got Satan conscience. Evil's in the skin, evil's in the flesh. So we all have that in us, whether we tap into it and use it or stay away from it, shy away from it, whatever. But I've heard it said by somebody, I took it with a grain of salt, but it kind of tickled my curiosity a little bit. But they said Satan's IQ is like 17,000. Golly, 17,000 IQ. It wouldn't surprise me if babies being born today that had total recall, if their IQs wouldn't be something like that, even though that is unimaginable. That's high. Of course, I've also heard that God has an IQ of in the trillions, which I also believe that. I believe that too. God can do amazing things. That's for sure. But my grandson, my latest grandson, was born just this past September, and he's going through a hard time. He's already had surgery, and he had a tube put in, and he had to keep it in for I don't know how long. He's having it hard, but I've got really high hopes for that boy. He's a Life Path 22, and man, I have high hopes for that boy. I hope that he does wonderful things in this world. But that's enough orbs for today. Hopefully anybody listening to this voice might get something out of some of the shit I'm spitting out right now. I'm just trying to get people to look up shit that I know I feel is really important in the world today, which is a lot going on. There's a lot of shit that people could be looking at that's important, I believe. But I do believe the most important is people need to be looking at their spirituality. They need to be looking at God. They need to be coming to find truth in that more so than anything else, because the Armageddon and all, that ain't nothing. It's the reset for the planet, which is needed for evolution of the planet, evolution of all our human souls. And I mean, when you find out that you signed up for this life, you knew what you was getting into, you actually asked for it, and then you come here to live it after you already agreed to it. All the shit that you go through is just, I mean, it's just part of the course. I mean, I hate to say it, and people have a lot of hurt with loved ones lost and pain and suffering and all that, but it's all for our evolution of our soul. And we signed up for it. We actually asked for it. Everything that we've been through. I'm crippled now. I got one leg that's completely screwed. The hips messed up. The nerves are messed up. artery was taken out of the top part. I don't know why. Still don't understand that, but my femur was broken, my tibia was broken, my knee was crushed, and it spun it kind of around, and it fucked that leg up really good. The other leg got broke, and they put a damn bar in it from my ankle up to my knee, and I can't move it like I used to. It's slow and easy. I gotta take it slow and easy, and I can feel it. Just moving it slow, I can feel it creak. I mean, it's not a good feeling. But man, I know I signed up for it, so I don't take that like it's such a hard. I mean, this is what I asked for, and it's all for the evolution of my soul, which I'm a light path 11. So if I get it, if I pass this, I'll either be a 22 next, or maybe I can jump. Maybe I can jump completely on up to where I want to be. But that's all shit that who knows exactly how it goes when you get up there. So I might end up wanting to come back. You never know. You never fucking know. I'm still not past the idea that it could be a freaking matrix. This could all be computer generated shit, man. Even though it's hard to wrap your head around that. It's hard for me to wrap my head around that. But when you think about it enough and you listen to the facts, it very well could be. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on that out there and it really makes sense. Even Neil deGrasse Tyson has said multiple times that he hasn't ruled that out. He said he's not going to rule that out until somebody proves that it's not, because it's very logical. It seems like it could be possible, and maybe even probable. But anyway, that mountain's looking good with that lit up behind it. I don't know what that light is coming from. It's should be dark now. Freaking. Sun goes down behind me. It comes up over that mountain in the morning. I don't know why it would be lit up back here now. It's nothing but boondocks out that way. There's nothing, no cities or nothing to light that up. I don't know what's lighting that up right now, but you can see the outline of that mountain real good. Well, as usual, if anybody can help me with these, tell me these orbs, whatever. I call them orbs, but I don't know what they are. I mean, they could be them flying things with the wavy wings on each side, or the spirals, however. I don't know what they are, but I just call them orbs because they're so small and they just look like little dots flying around. But anybody can tell me what you think about that or anything else, because I get into a lot of deep shit, man. And I'm always looking for truth and facts. I'm always looking for facts.
Everything has to fight hard for its entrance into our recognition. When the first Aryan invaders appeared in India, it was a vast land of forests, and the newcomers rapidly took advantage of them. These forests afforded them shelter from the fierce heat of the sun and the ravages of tropical storms.
Alright, I'll record some more tomorrow, whatever. Y'all have a good one. Love y'all.